Good morning, Anthony Franco. It is 2 a.m. Denver time.
I should get an Academy Award for that. That was so well acted.
I believe that I may still be asleep. I may be sleepwalking right this minute, Anthony. Did you know? What if your pipeline erupted so quickly that your competitors needed braces just to keep from trying to keep up? I like that. An 18th century traveling merchant named Frederick. I mean, I am still asleep, Anthony. This is clear. It's very clear here. Named Frederick Quick Draw Bonaire. That's actually what I'm going to start calling you, Anthony Quick Draw.
Quick Draw.
Once like barrels of homemade tonic door to door, he struggled until he concocted a bizarre free taste for neighbor offer. Demand soared, turning him to a wandering salesman into a local legend. His genius, he realized that meeting prospects right at their door made them thirsty for his product. Today, Anthony, on How to Founder, we're talking to client acquisition specialist. I'm Chris Franks. This is Anthony Franco. Justin Michaels, welcome. B2B coach, you turn top performers into seven-figure legends.
I like it. I love
legends
your energy.
with 24 years crushing it, LinkedIn, Salesforce, and beyond. Plus his JMM method that's generated over $1 billion in results.
I always do that.
I mean, well, you're not bald, Justin. You can't do Dr. Evil. You can't pull off this right here is Dr. This is Dr. Evil.
It's ideal.
He's an unstoppable pipeline guru. Justin, welcome. Thank you for joining us. First of all, where are you joining us from? Is it Tibet?
No, it's not Tibet. I've been traveling through Europe a bit, so I'm in Switzerland. So it's my early afternoon. So I'm not suffering.
Where in Switzerland?
Zurich, actually.
If you're lucky enough to be in Switzerland, you're lucky enough, man. It's a beautiful
life.
country.
I mean, there's a lot of swans, $100 breakfast. Not bad.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing about Switzerland is buckle up. It ain't cheap. Like, we'll go get fast food and it'll cost $100. It's great. All right, so let's just get right into it. Client acquisition. Tell me, what do I need to start thinking about as a founder here? What are the steps that I need to start kind of framing up in the world that you live in as a founder? Why does this stuff matter? Why is it important? And just kind of explain the very basics to me, like I got 4 hours of sleep, Justin, because I did. That's exactly. Yeah.
That's common for founders. Well, right. I would say that there's a lot of noise out there right now. You know, my experience having sold LinkedIn Sales Navigator from the Empire State Building and worked for LinkedIn, there's this theory that you just have to kind of pitch slap everybody. People are looking for what's the exact message to send someone when you connect. I mean, there's a billion people on there. We can start there. But it turns out that, as a founder, if you're doing founder-led growth, a lot of founders want to find a lead gen agency or get SDRs or delegate that out. And I think that's something you do later, but I would test it out yourself first, slow down and manually reach out to people and get engaged in conversations. Because right now there's a bloated environment of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, and there just is a desire for an easy button around this. So, what I've been writing about recently is ways to not only humanize yourself, but stand way out. So first of all, I think LinkedIn's a chat platform. And I try to do direct message choreographies. And I take things from worlds as disparate as dating and neuropsychology and behavioral dynamics, because pretty much any misstep or emoji out of place, or you're too salesy, you're too needy. There's a lot of mistakes people are making when they're communicating online. That's really just repelling the prospects. I would start there.
I wrote a blog post. It's been a few years ago, and strangely, it did not get, indexed very well on LinkedIn, but I said, stop it, you're ruining LinkedIn. Because, like if I started out early in my sales career, if you would have told me that there was this place where I could research prospects and I could find out what they're interested in their background, I could find out what they're posting and what they're liking and who they're friends and what they're reading, this magic panacea, I would have said you were full of crap. Like it is the magic spot. And yet it's turned into a place where people are like, hi, my name's Chris. Want to buy my stuff? Like, there's no relationship building going on there. It's just kind of like people, walking into a bar and going like, hey, how about you? How about you? How about you? How about you?
It's true. It's gotten worse because there's so much automation. So it's like, hi, Anthony. Hi, Chris, comma, boom, boom, boom.
Hi,
and then the worst
name.
ones, the worst one's like, Chris, and there's like a question mark and they're looking for you and you're still not a person. So people always, I did write a book, Justin Michael Method 2.0, where I got into prompt engineering and ways to use AI. But these days, it's just about having conversations in a specific way. So I got back on LinkedIn. I was building up my consultancy as a founder of a couple companies. And I have 30,000 connections capped. I'm a top voice. I have almost 60,000 followers. And I would approach people and no one was interested in my services. No one wants coaching or consulting or your SaaS or your widget because they're getting hundreds of messages from all these different vendors. So it's like, yeah, you can personalize it, but a lot of the personalization you're doing is needy. It's creepy. It's Facebook stuff. It's like, I don't know. You guys are so much fun. I feel like it'll work in a way,
I see that you were in Switzerland, Justin.
I love cheese. I love Toblerone. Do you want to buy
I've been to Switzerland once.
I love the Swiss. It's like, it's like that. The only people that get away with this, honestly, this creepy personalization are sports fanatics. Like I used to work at LinkedIn and you could write an email that said roll Tide and you just get deals. If you knew the inside scoop on college football
Gabe
really
talks
well,
about that quite a bit. He talks about sending Jets jerseys, signed jerseys to his wine customers and all. Yeah, sports for some reason has this weird association.
Amazing. Yeah. Like I want to create an app to teach like non-sports fanatics the inner points of the sports.
There you go. Exactly.
For prospecting.
You just like that's an AI bot. It's like how to talk sports today. Like, how about that insert game last night?
But true sports people will hold your feet to the fire, and they know things that you don't know. There's no way to fake sports knowledge. You know what I mean? So
that's true. Or the pain associated with being a Rockies fan, but that's a whole nother story, Justin.
It's true. So a lot of my work deals with this idea of the fourth frame, right? Which is like if you make 100 phone calls now, you might get 3 people. If you send 100 emails, you might get 3 people. I think right now in a sequencer, you're getting 1 in 1,000. So you can go to LinkedIn and you can see someone with a green dot on, they're there. So if I go to Anthony, he has a green dot on, I start sending him the lyrics to What Do You Mean by Justin Bieber every 5 minutes. About 30 minutes in, he's like, stop. Or he loves it and he laughs, right? But they're there. You go to your email account and every 10 minutes send lyrics of a song and they shut you off. So I did those tests. So the question is, there's 2 techniques. You can go directly or indirectly. And pretty much everyone's going direct. They're saying, hey, Anthony, I've worked with similar companies like you to get this outcome, social proof, can we get a meeting? And they're trying to sell right in that first message. And so what I'm trying to do is move indirectly, start a conversation, get some back and forth, 3 or 4 back and forth, pull to a Zoom. Then I'm trying to run the Zoom in a different way. So I've been able to pull thousands of initial discovery calls, just having like these lateral DM flows out of LinkedIn. And I call it Chat and Grow Rich. It'll work on Facebook. It'll work on Instagram because it's a reverse psychology. It's a set of pattern interrupts for chatting with people online that they're not expecting. Because pretty much 99% of people, you feel the salesiness and they just kind of wing it, So that's what I've been kind of working on in a major way and what my material and books and things are going for.
I'm just pulling up LinkedIn right now, just as we're talking. I just want to hear your worst LinkedIn message outreach lately. Anthony, Justin, what do you got? Anybody that's got a really bad one?
That I sent or received?
No, just received.
I receive a lot of them. Yeah. I receive more good examples of bad messages than good examples of good messages.
I got one that's like, as a top dentist, I'll get like these automation fails. Like, okay. it like targets me wrong and just really fails. My friend got one on my client today where it was like, I'm a big fan of your content. And he's like, well, why don't you follow me? I'm not interested in your service. And then I don't know if it's a VA went, I actually don't like your content and flipped it around. It was like the angry telemarketer style. So I've also done a lot with visual prospecting. I found that the form factor of digital selling and prospecting is broken because the human brain actually keys off of visuals. So in an email, you can't really put a diagram or a GIF or a GIF. I think the founder called it a GIF or a GIF.
It is. I mean, be careful. This is nerd. You can piss off a lot of
this. So let's just move on.
Yeah, we can move on. I don't want to start World War.
It's a gift, but yeah, this is You will a bunch of engineers you will never see get an argument faster than this argument right here.
It's good to know. Yeah. So what came first, the GIF or the GIF? Well, basically though, what I do, I go into LinkedIn and I send a message like, "What's your big vision for 2025?" And I don't even put a question mark, and I don't say, "Hey Chris, hey Anthony, thanks for connecting." I just put 5 words, all lowercase. And sometimes if they're in England, they're like, "Oh, don't you want to, call me by my first name or something?" And then I usually then send like a George Clooney GIF after. So now you've gotten this weird message that's just 5 words, and then it's been bumped with George Clooney, and you're kind of like, what is this, right? Because everyone else is like, "Hey Anthony, I noticed that you have 6 Sigma green belt. You're also interested in IT, and we have," and the bullets just drop. It's like,
"Hey Anthony,
I'm just like,
I see you're in Colorado. Still am I. You want to meet up?"
You guys are hilarious.
How you doing?
How you doing? Too good. It's too good. You guys are hilarious. I'm loving this.
One of my favorites I'm looking at right now is, "Hi, I'm reaching out to my network to see if you need help recruiting."
Oh, that's one of the best ones.
No, I really don't. Thank you.
Are you taking clients? Are you still taking clients? No, I'm over capacity. I'm retired. I'm independently wealthy. I'm not taking clients. So, what is this question? It seems like.
Could you handle more business? Yeah. I get those all the time.
Yeah.
I always turn those into my, like, I always pitch slap them back. Whenever I get a pitch slap, I just respond with a pitch slap.
Yeah.
What's your standard response, Anthony? What do you go to?
I have a really good meme coin that I'm selling. Would you be interested in? I tried to pitch him a meme coin.
Those two.
Dogecoin.
Double Doge.
All right. So here's what I've got so far. I've got the fact that as a founder, and Anthony, you have talked about this a lot. You are responsible for business development. I want to sit there and I want to build beautiful products and I want to sit in a room and I don't want to go out and sell. I get it, but that's not an option. When you choose this route, you have to do this work. And so that's number one. Number two is, and Justin, I think this is the point you're getting to, is there are tools available for us, but the fundamentals of sales have always been the fundamentals of sales, will always be the fundamental of relationship building. And there is more noise. It is noisier. It is crazier. It is more difficult to get your message across than ever before. But I'll ask why, really specific. You've already started to give us some examples, but really what I've got is that doing something a little unexpected, but uniquely human is the first step. Just showing the fact that you're a real person. And George Clooney gives is one way, right? Just doing something kind of goofy and funny to demonstrate the fact that you actually are a real person and to get somebody as opposed to just delete. Like, wait, what? Just getting that moment of attention.
So I kind of wrote this like cheat sheet, 100 ways to kind of open a direct message chat flow. It's all going down the DMs, right? And people always been this battle, like, is it tone or what you say? It's like, oh, and all the cold callers like, it's only tone. That's all that matters. So I'm like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, you want to see my meth lab? Like, it's not going to work well. I can convey it with the tone. It's not going to go well. So there's two more. Yeah, my name's Walter White Jr.
Yeah.
You want to go cooking? I'm a great cook. Not what you think. So the 2 more that founders can use is, 1, have a give. What can you give, like a PDF or a guide, and actually build a give? And Hormozi talks about this, that they would literally pay for, like a go-to-market plan or something for the client for, something that they would, not something crappy, like some, all this like white paper downloads you get, and it's like Captain Obvious type content.
Yeah.
And then the next one I have, I call opinion heuristic. Like my work, I talk a lot about heuristics, linguistics, what we say, and then heuristic is like the meta overlay, the formula. So if you're building something, like as you build a guide to help your prospect, send them 2 different versions, even 2 different designs, like a modern one and a retro one. Or send them the raw doc and say, hey, are these points and insights helpful for you? What else would you want? And I learned this because I kept looking at Amazon. I got like this pair of like not designer jeans. Like I thought they're like Wrangler jeans. Like these are like dad jeans or something.
Justin, you don't strike me as a Wrangler guy, but more power to you. I'll give
no,
you
so I went for it. Yeah, I don't know one of these like Euro jeans. I'm not cool anymore. I'm like just turned 45. It's cool. I'm still young, but 16,000 reviews. 16,000 reviews on the jeans. So what I do is I send people messages on LinkedIn like red or black, right? Like Vegas Vacation, like Chevy Chase. I'm like, do you like the blue one or the yellow one? Or like, sometimes when I'm doing books, they're different covers, or I'm putting out a guide. I'm like, do you like this guide? And I get like 80% response because they're interested. And then I dovetail that into, well, let's set up a call. Let's talk about the paper. I can help you, because the biggest battle is just getting any response now at all.
Just getting attention.
From the direct messages. And if you're going LinkedIn and you're using Clay and you're getting crazy with all this email stuff, I mean, you need 15 email inboxes, you do all this technical, it's just too crazy hard. Like I'd rather just reach out to you on LinkedIn right now.
Yeah. And we're going to rush through this stuff because I feel like we could talk for 2 hours, Justin, but we talk a lot about biases and heuristics. The Benjamin Franklin effect is really in play here, which is if you do a favor for somebody, they actually like you more. Like if I can get you to do a favor for me, you will actually like me more. It's counterintuitive, but it's a pretty interesting heuristic. All right. So Justin, boiling it down, doing things that are unexpected, but as a founder, I'm just trying to get attention. I'm trying to cut through the noise. Give us some other advice, techniques, things that you recommend for founders.
So people don't realize on LinkedIn that through the LinkedIn app, you can do a voice drop and you can even do a video drop. And maybe you know this, but the other thing is, like, I used to run like ads on Facebook, and then I had was selling tech to measure ads and run like real high scale ads, like algorithms, before it all went to AI. And a lot of times what performed well in there wasn't like the polished version of the photo. It would be like just like a camera phone video of a celebrity, Britney Spears or something, would just go crazy in an ad format. So believe it or not, when you're trying to get prospects to respond to you, best thing you do is like at the gym or at Starbucks, just drop in your LinkedIn app on your phone and just record a video. And there's this guy named JP, Juan Pablo, and he's in Spain, and he walks with this collie every day. I don't know if you saw this, for like, he leaves these like 6-minute messages like, I am with my dog. It'll show the collie, and I'm walking through the streets, and I need your Mercado.
So I have to get a border collie.
And it goes amazing. This border collie is so cute. Everybody's following this thing. He works for this Marketo agency, and he went to this big conference, and his higher-ups were like, we don't really understand what you do here. But then he went to the conference, and everybody at the conference knew him, knew his dog. They got in the
knew his dog. Tell me he brought his dog.
He got like 3 responses out of 10 videos on LinkedIn, and it's just him hiking with his dog and just doing little skits with his dog. And so there's a native video there. When you do vidyards or link outs, it's better down funnel. But the problem is when I send you a vidyard or a Wistia or a Loom, it's kind of like, ooh, it's a trap, like in Star Wars. Because if you click it, it's going to be like, oh, hey, Chris. And I've like they're written out on the coffee cup, it's just never really personalized. It's cheesy. So using video in unique ways is big. You can do voice drops like that.
And really, again, the theme here, what you're saying is being human. And the reason why a camera, just a selfie video as you're walking, it's funny. It's like you look at short form video content now, people sitting in their cars, which people do because the audio is good, tends to go really well, but it's just a very human moment where you feel like it's an intimate setting with somebody.
Yeah, so I had this now with this client, this guy, Chris Rokas. I can't take credit. He started doing FaceTime drops. So he would reverse look up someone's FaceTime and drop in on executives' FaceTime. So they think it's like, a family member, an emergency, and he's trying to sell consumer packaged goods. That's really hardcore. So I've never actually done that. I was going to say,
that's pretty, you're going to get hung up on a lot. Because
I call that the wingsuited base jump technique.
Yeah.
It probably works as long as it's just him doing it. Once everybody starts doing it, it'll piss everybody off. But
yeah,
every once in a while, I'll get something for marketing. I'll get something marketing that is so unique and like a cold call or an cold outreach that is so unique that you just have to respect the game. Like it's like this guy
I'd be
knows
like, hey,
how to
I'm
play
not
the game.
at all interested, but I do want to say
Yeah,
props
this
for
is
the
so
outreach.
original
So
that I got to give you props. Yeah,
that's a good one.
I just know that we got to wrap up here in a few minutes. Anthony, takeaways. What did you learn?
Man, I want to, Justin. I want to talk to you for another half an hour. I know you got to go, but we'll. I'll go ahead and try to wrap this up. We have Chris. Justin had one more thing to say, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll do the wrap up.
Chris, go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, so I think like humor is really powerful. Thinking of visual prospecting is very powerful. Thinking from this concept of what's the one message to what's a choreography of messages back and forth. Dropping videos. These are all different techniques. Thinking direct versus lateral, trying to spark conversations with people about a macro trend. Like, hey, you think the economy is going to improve after Trump? Is your company using LLMs and ChatGPT? It just, asking a question that is more random, that's almost irresistible to answer, getting people to critique you. So like the first touch is critical. And then I created like this framework. I call it the 7-step close process, but I use it in chats. And I essentially say, what's your goal? What's your goal behind the goal? What else have you tried? And then what's holding you back? And so if you're trying to get a prospect to convert, you can get pretty far in those DM flows before you even ask them to call. Because the other reason, if you don't surface any pain or latent pain and you're just bringing people to discovery calls, they're going to flake like 50% of the time because there's no urgency there. There's no depth to why they need it. It's a need to have versus a nice to have. So I've written like 17 guides, 7 books, 6 in my name. I mean, just go to Amazon, put in my name, and I've got some ones for founders on the top funnel techniques across all the channels.
5 of them over here. Like I've got 5 of them that
it's weird that you're sitting on his books, Anthony.
It's a good.
No, I'm not. There we go.
Yeah, it's a good like paperweight or doorstop. If you need kindling for a fireplace.
I know we're short on time, but I want to ask you one follow-up question on that.
Sure.
Briefly, what are your no-goes? Like politics, religion, openly insulting people. Like, what is the thing that you say are territory that you don't tread in?
It's amazing. I have a list. Do not flatter the prospect. Don't thank them and say a pleasantry like, thank you for connecting. Hope you're doing well. Don't use their first name, which is a huge pattern interrupt. Don't pitch slap. Instead, get them into a conversation. Don't write long paragraphs. Super terse, 10 words max.
For God's sakes, I'm dyslexic. Reading that's homework for me, man. I don't want to just read, give me a message, like a text.
Keep going, Jess. These are great. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to be needy. Needy is creepy, as Steve Chandler says. You just like the DMV approach. Like you don't really care for the sale. I think the big thing is show value, try to help them before they've even, hired you or your service or your product is really powerful. I mean, you got to be careful of tropes, like things that are worn out, cliches. Like notice that is highly automated. And there's certain things that are dead giveaways for ChatGPT. I use blank connects. I actually don't put anything in the message because prospects get they look in their invitations as overwhelming and they just ignore it.
Right.
Trying to think.
Those are great.
That's good stuff. So Anthony, quickly wrap it up for us. And then Justin, we want to hear, obviously you got a ton of books and, tons of places that we can go learn more. But Anthony, what did you take away from the episode?
So I think the most important thing that I wanted to get out from this conversation that it is in fact GIF, not GIF. The G stands for graphics, so it's GIF. Yeah. All right. So, but the takeaways for the rest of the call, not as important, is I really like this notion. Start outreach yourself first. Like, don't automate anything. Don't touch anything. Don't get somebody else. Don't get an expert. You need to start doing it yourself and seeing what works and doesn't work for yourself. A great way to do that is grab Justin. What's the best book that you've written just for how do you initiate that first conversation.
I love this. It's like, also, which is your favorite child? So go ahead. That's great.
Yeah, so I would say like either JMM 1.0 or 4.0, and you'll run into it as a series. So one's called Sales Superpowers, which the whole second half is techniques. If you don't want to hear my life story, that's not, you're like, oh, it's his life story. And so that in the end of that piece, like that's, I think it's like page 157. There's a breakdown of exactly how to do
JMM 4.0
in 1.0. There's
1.0 page 157. That's where
we'll there's literally, because people used to pay me like pretty handsome money to learn that process, because it's almost proprietary. It'll give you infinite permutations of how to hold these chat flows in a non-cheesy way that captures people. It'll give you a formula that they can't see, but it helps you keep the conversation forward, because that's the challenge. It's like, how do I keep it going? And then the fourth one, this 7FF, 7-figure formula, is all about the solopreneur and a consultative approach. And it's got a ton of actual chat flows that happen that are anonymized. So you can watch people using these and then kind of replicate that and riff on it.
I love it, Justin. So where can we find?
That's how it is. And then at last, so the other points: be human. In other words, build a give, ask opinions as you build and dovetail into a conversation. We're skipping deep dive. Justin, where can we hear more about you?
Well,
why did you throw all the points? We need it for the bumper.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I pretty much try to be scarce, like the Willy Wonka of B2B. I don't really have like a website that's like Justin Michael Consulting with like heart-centered pose or something. So if you just follow my feed on LinkedIn, Twitter, if you like x.com, in between the UFO sightings, you can get some goodness for client acquisition. There's been a lot of UFOs lately. I have tons of podcasts. If you just type in Justin Michael Coach or Justin Michael Sales into YouTube, I have probably 500 and a lot of deep dives too. If you reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to share those 17 guides with you. No catch. I don't have a click funnel. You're not going to, get spammed to death. I'll probably ask you to read a book or so, but I really believe in giving 99% of my content away for free, Nice. So that's the open source model.
I also think that, of what I learned is you have to neg people. So don't flatter them. Just be like, you smell bad. So
yeah. So read Neil Strauss in The Game, and also a book called Models by Mark Manson. But like a lot of the precepts that govern human interactions, like dating, it's the same. Like you have these micro moments to connect with people, and people are doing all the wrong things. So it's very similar. So you can actually learn a lot more being successful on LinkedIn, reading pickup artist books from the 90s.
Yeah, the Pua stuff, right? Because humans are humans, and they don't change.
Humans are humans, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome
That's
stuff.
Right. Getting attention is getting attention. Justin, thank you so much for the time. Yeah, I really feel like we could talk for 2 more hours. Appreciate you. Have a great one. Anthony, what do we have coming up? You could drop, Justin. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We have marketing your systems. Making systems that stick. It's an operational conversation.
I like the fact
and
that
that's in just a little bit. We're doing a double header today.
Oh my God! It is now 5 a.m. Denver
it's
time.
5 a.m.
I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee, and I will see you in a half an hour, Anthony.
Everybody that's listening in, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Justin. I know he has back-to-back interview calls, so really appreciate him carving out 30 minutes for us. For everybody that's listening, visit us at howtofounder.com to follow us on your favorite channel. Like we're on like the tubes and the internets and the webs. We'll see you.
We're on that Spotify place.
Spotify. Now that I think about it, we need to have an episode just solely around poorly named companies, because that's just a terrible name for a company.
Great point. I never really thought about that. That's a crappy
really
name
awful.
company.
Like what branding conversation do they have that we need to sound like something you need Tide to remove?
Sounds like something. It sounds like a stain remover.
It does. Right. All right. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Thanks, Chris.
All
Talk to you soon.
See ya.